Bro, Hollywood P reacts.
What's good, YouTube? It's your dude Hollywood P, back again for another video. Now, as always, folks, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Also, turn on your post notifications so that you stay up to date with all of my latest uploads. All right, guys, we are back once again, and today is the day. Right now, in the making of this video, DDG, Deshae Frost, and their two cameramen are at the airport. They are on the airplane leaving LAX, headed to Trinidad. I think they have like one stop before they actually get there. They got a layover, so you know it's gonna be a little minute. I think they're gonna be flying all day, but when they land, they are supposed to be doing, filming the whole festival stuff that's going on. I think it starts tomorrow or something like that, so they will be out there. DDG say he'll be on the Green app, which is Kick, live streaming, and also Deshae will still be on Twitch. Just trying not to get banned on it. I think they look at what the girls do out there in Trinidad as art, so it might be okay to film, but I think DDG really wants to show what's really going on and let loose, and just in case something happens, like a nip slip or whatever, something go on, he'd be safe on the Green app, which is Kick. So that should be kind of entertaining there. Also, yes, guys, I received your messages about DDG and this whole Ruby Rose thing, but I just kind of wanted to live in the moment of it, just to think about how it would be for DDG if he was to go and backpedal to like Ruby Rose. I think for the season it would have been lit, you know what I'm saying? But long term it would have been toxic, it would have been dangerous. Those two together, after a while, it doesn't, things don't end well. I'll just put it like that. But in the beginning, he would have been having the time of his life to go from India Love and to bounce over to Ruby Rose and just have that kind of those moments, those wild moments, and doing what they doing, in these high rises and traveling and hitting. You know what I'm saying? It just would have been fun. But like I say, long run, it wouldn't have worked out. But I just wanted to kind of live in that moment. But the reality of it is, it wasn't DDG. And right now I'm going to show you exactly what's been going on with Ruby Rose and who her new boo thing actually is. So check this out. All right, guys, here he is. It ain't DDG. I don't know who he is. Maybe you guys do. He looks like an NFL player or something. Maybe I'm not sure. But maybe you guys know exactly who he is. First, I thought it was an Offset for a minute. I was like, what is going on? But it ain't Offset, guys. So it's all good with that. But yeah, that's what Ruby Rose has been doing. That's why she says she's been MIA. She's got a new boo. And as we know, when Ruby Rose locks in on her man, you pretty much gonna see her and her man. And she ain't gonna be pretty much working or doing anything. She's gonna be catering to her man. So it ain't DDG, guys. Yeah. Like I said, I would have loved for it to be a cool little temporary little flashback moment of DDG and Ruby Rose. Because in the beginning, when they actually were together, it was a good little moment. It was good. It was good, like, entertainment. Ruby Rose was catering to him and feeding him. And honestly, Ruby Rose is the reason why he eats Ethiopian food. That was the craziest thing. So I'll give her that. She taught DDG, something outside of American food, far as like that Ethiopian African food. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you call that gooey bread stuff. I don't know. You guys probably eat it. And just the food that they were eating, I remember in a lot of the videos that DDG had, he was always with her, and they would go to these markets and stuff and get the food, or they'd go to these little, Ethiopian, African places and get it. And ever since then, he just nonstop ate it. That's what he was eating that. And then of course he'd go like Jamaican style and eat oxtails or whatever, but he was always eating that African food, the Ethiopian food, that Ruby Rose, put him on to. And he even brought it over to Halle Bailey. I was like, he got Halle Bailey eating the food that Ruby Rose taught him how to eat. You know what I mean? So I just think that was dope. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like she was just in a relationship and DDG didn't learn anything from her and she didn't learn anything from him. You know what I'm saying? He taught her how to make money outside of like just making music. She taught her about the OF situation, and she made millions off that. You know what I'm saying? And she put him onto the food game. You know what I'm saying? And she was actually, honestly, I know a lot of people say that, they don't think she was a good girlfriend, but she honestly was a really good girlfriend. Besides their like moments at the end where she accused DDG of cheating and prostitutes and all this other stuff, catching girls in the car and stuff. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? But as far as a girlfriend wise, when she was catering to her man, she was always there in the bed with him, giving him what he needed. She looked good to me, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. But nonetheless, let's talk about Carnival and DDG and Deshae Frost. Yeah, so that would have been dope. But nonetheless, we will be getting some good content, like I said, from DDG and Deshae Frost. Now, Dub, we want to talk about Dub. Dub was really supposed to go with these guys out to Trinidad, so he was going to be doing some wild stuff, getting his freak on, doing what he do. He wasn't about all this little TikTok and Twitch type stuff. He was trying to do some grown man business out there with these women. But nonetheless, I think that Aaliyah and Dub are going to get back together, or they might be working on it. They might be, that I call it toddler texting right now, kind of like, how you been, what you got going on today type stuff. They doing that type of stuff right now, little baby steps. Because Aaliyah never stopped hanging around TT, Valentine, and the rest of them. She's still around. I'm sure she still checks on Miss Tanya, which is, DDG and Dub's mom. Probably talked to her, and she, like nothing ever just stopped. You know what I'm saying? She didn't just like go MIA. She pretty much still hangs around the same people. Her and TT still cool. So what that means. When you're still hanging around the family, eventually Dub gonna spin the block. You know what I'm saying? Dub is not DDG. When DDG say he doesn't spin the block, Dub will. Dub will spin the block. Dub and Aaliyah have broken up over 11 times, allegedly. You know what I mean? You're hearing this from me. Over 11 times. Like for real, probably 2 or 3, but 11 times they done broke up or more. So I'm not saying that they won't get back together, because Dub does love Aaliyah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never seen Dub publicly show affection, kissing on her, sucking on her toes, or whatever it took. Dub was in love. You know what I'm saying? Is what it is. But I do think they will be back together. And even DDG says, come on, man, you're going to be back together. I don't know what Dub did as far as like Valentine's Day, but I don't think he was with Aaliyah. He probably texted her or something like that, or maybe sent something to her. Because eventually, you start missing that one. Especially now, this is what I'm saying. Dub probably, since him and Aaliyah haven't broke up, probably was out getting his freak on, hitting a couple of, a couple chicks around the way and all that. But then, when he go to bed at night, he just like, man, I miss Aaliyah, because that's like my best friend. We were cool, we were good. But Aaliyah, I think what it is when it comes to a girl like Aaliyah, she's been around Dub so long till she got very comfortable. And it started becoming toxic, because she's not going to do certain things that Dub wants her to do. She's going to have that kind of like that pushback, kind of like how Brittany was. And that's the biggest turnoff, for Dub, is a woman that's kind of like not submissive. So when you start kind of being masculine in the relationship, he about to be gone. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened with him and Brittany. Like, he wasn't feeling it. She was masculine. She wasn't submissive. Like, he might ask her to do something. She always got something to say, and just kind of that pushback, and that's going to get you gone. You know what I'm saying? But in this situation, I heard that allegedly Aaliyah left. Aaliyah left Dub. So I don't know how that's going to work out. Hopefully they can fix it or work things out if things are better. I put it like this. If Dub and Aaliyah get back together, I hope that they just go through with everything, and they need to go to counseling, and you know what I'm saying? Because I know that Dub really does love Aaliyah. And you can ask him and be like, you love Aaliyah? And he probably be like, I do. You know what I'm saying? You still love Aaliyah? I do. And she's still hanging, like I said, she's still hanging around TT, Valentine. She ain't never left the group. She probably still texting Miss Tanya, hey girl, how you doing today? Da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, and nothing else. It's just Dub and Aaliyah are technically not together. Even DDG is like, bro, y'all about to get back together. You in love. You know what I'm saying? You in love. You know what I'm saying? He didn't. One thing about DDG, he never said that when it came to Dub and Brittany. He's like, bro, I'm done with her. And DDG was like, I hear it. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Aaliyah, DDG's like, nah, you ain't about to go too far. Because she's still around. She's still hanging around. But anyway, guys, like I said, DDG, Deshae, they are on the flight. I think they got a layover maybe in Charlotte somewhere. And then they'll be headed to Trinidad. So they're going to be flying all day. So, they got to get settled in their room, find out what's going on, make sure security is right and all, before they start moving around. So it's going to be pretty much tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be a stream today. Maybe if it is, it's going to be late tonight sometime. But other than that, that's all I got right now. But anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Also turn on your post notifications. And as always, folks, holla back at your boy. Peace.